Welcome everybody to the Stingray 2 review. This is one of the only light tank in tier 7. It has a 4-round ready rack, does around 2000 damage in around 8 seconds, and the armor on the front is at least pretty decent. So, as usual, the first thing we're going to look at is the modifications for the tank. Now, you get a applique package, smoke grenades, then a firepower line, and then finally some engine stuff. I'm going to mute Pharaoh now. Then you get a battle hardened and some XP point as well. Considering this tank has the best 105mm in its tier with the highest damage, I would suggest at first going for the firepower line. You get an improved gun stabilizer, some heat rounds, improved thermal scope, which should at least help you to be able to detect AFVs at roughly medium range. And then lastly, you get the best 105 shells in tier 7, and you get improved ready racks, which your rate of fire is increased by 13%. Then I would suggest you go for the applique package, which handily helps with the armor of the tank. You basically go from having the stock armor of the Stingray 2 to having the armor that you see now. And then lastly, you can go for the smoke grenades and then the engine. It's only 50 horsepower more, so it's not really that much of a big deal. There's not really that many things to compare it to, since as it's basically the only light tank in its tier. However, we can compare this to other vehicles such as the Centauro, is it just the Centauro? Yeah, it's basically just the Centauro. So as you can see here, despite the Centauro being a tank destroyer and having slightly higher DPM, the Stingray 2 has higher damage. They have the same hit points. It has better hull armor and turret armor, believe it or not. However, the Centauro, with the package I've sent it up for, has far better camouflage, with the Stingray having slightly better view range on the move. Lastly, the Cent has it beat for sideways gun depression, but the gun depression of the Stingray 2 is also pretty good as well. So, the commanders to use on the Stingray 2 is going to be Juan Carlos, who gives you basically a good range of buffs. Instigator gives you a vision range increase by 32 meters. Foot Down will give you a 5% maximum speed boost, along with Special Agent, Anti-Material Explosives, 1.8% increase to your crew stats. However, you get a massive 15% increase to your crew stats if you use Fighting Spirit, which, if you're always on the go using your repair kit, energy drink, well, not repair kit, your repair kit, your fire extinguisher kit, and your first aid, you'll get a massive boost to your guys. And then lastly, you also get some better accuracy on the move as well. For your crews, I would recommend Smooth Ride and Off-Road Driving, but you could always go for Field Repair if you find yourself getting tracked a lot. For the gunner, it's usually a rough comparison between all 4 of these skills. All 4 of them are pretty good. And then finally for the loader, you want to do rapid fire and then either preparation if you plan on mixing up your shells all the time. Secured ammunition is also a bonus because the ammo rack of the Stingray is in the front. Or you could always go for field expert, or you could always go for vehicle expertise, which combined with the gunner field repair skill gives you the same repair for your tracks that an improved Pioneer toolkit will give. It's a pretty fun tank, to be honest. I can't really think of other commanders to use. You could always use Sabrina if you wanted to do like a hybrid AFE playstyle, but that's not really the option you should choose. You could also choose Freya if you want to go ultimate speedy speed, or you could just do Eren if you wanted to be basically a motherfucker who sits in a bush all day. That's up to you really. You should choose a good chunk of AP rounds. Remember, these AP rounds are very good. In fact, we should probably compare that AP rounds to all the other 105s in the tier. So we have the Merc, Stingray, and the Cent. I wasn't joking, the Stingray 2 actually has the best 105s in its tier. And lastly, it's also much better than 100mm on the Assaulter. So you can basically out-tank destroy a Cent initially, but the Centauro's better reload speed will mean that eventually you'll lose. But with heat rounds, and usually a rough damage of around 500 to 600, you can hunt down AFVs in the same tier and basically completely destroy them. So I did want to talk about the vehicle protection system, since this is one of the vehicles in the game that actually rapidly improves if you use the stock armor or not. So using heat rounds, as you can see here with stock armor, is basically green all the way through. However, with a plique, you can't penetrate the lower plate, parts of the turret, and also parts of this as well. And the same goes with het rounds as well. So you do get a massive buff. Like I said before, the ammo rack is in the front. So if you feel like you're going to get ammo racked a lot, using retrofits such as reinforced ammo rack, or the drivers, or the loaders one could also help as well. Lastly, retrofits wise, I would recommend electro absorbing camo paint, which will massively help with your camouflage. As you can see here, it gives a massive 8% boost. Lastly, you're probably going to want to use improved gun breach as well, and then either a choice between advanced MRS, reinforced ammo rack, filter systems, or air induction pre-cleaner, which respectively helps your ammo rack, your acceleration, or your hull speed. It's all pretty good stuff, and there are a lot of options to choose when using the Stingray. It's a really fun tank, and either the premium version or the regular version are all, I would definitely recommend all of them. So for now, let's have a look at some games. A really good game for me, my Centauro. Random Battle Frontline. Frontline usually goes two ways. It's either a massive camp fest or everybody gets rolled up in the first couple of seconds. The rush B meta of the server can be annoying, but as you can see here, we're actually out AFEs here, as they have a pair of VBO Ingways, and instead it's up to me and another Stingray, and for some reason the game always latches on to somebody else in the same tank name. What a beautiful camouflage. So we're going to go forward a couple of secs. The first place I usually go to when using a light tank, AFE or tank destroyer is this hill here. This is simply because it's in the middle of the map, and most of the other parts are usually MBT dominated in the first part of the game. So we're going to go up to this bush, and with the camo net and everything, we're going to have a look at what's going on. So for now, seeing that enemy in the cap circle, I decide to not actually go up first. Since usually when an enemy goes down there, as you can see that VBL, they have a really fun habit of just bull rushing either side of the map and everybody gets spotted, which is not something you want, to be honest. Looking around, looking around, looking around. I do like this part of the map. It gives you a really wide field of fire, like all the way down there, some ways over there in this place as well. If you're using AFE or something, you can do quite a bit of passive spotting just sitting here. I haven't actually fired off a shell yet. I was actually hoping to hit that guy, and as you can see here, this is where the gun depression of the Stingray, which is quite uncharacteristic of enemy vehicles, can kind of suck. Your gun depression feels like it's better off on the side rather than from the front, and of course when you give your side, you're giving your ammo rack. So this is when the ready rack of the Stingray starts to come into play. As you can see this challenger here. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I've just done 2,000 damage to that challenger. I don't think he enjoyed it very much. And we can finally pop another one in. And thanks to the quick reload time of 5.69 seconds, it's also pretty good. Okay, Pharaoh, take care of yourself, alright? And that's one guy down. I've just done 3,000 damage. That's pretty decent if you'll ask me. And to be honest, the train doesn't stop there. There's also a Centauro over there as well. But the usual problem with this map is that the teams tend to get pretty dispersed. So you usually have like a bunch of campers on either side with the MBTs fighting it out. I killed the BVP there. Firing at tracers is usually a good way to go. I didn't really spot the kill there since I was busy looking at the minimap. So we're going to fast forward it a bit. There we go. 455 to the NM142, and that ready rack really does come into play. With that, you have a very decent chance of taking on MBTs, performing hit and run attacks and stuff, and you can also, you know, do really good burst damage. So while the DPM says it's around in the 6,000 line, it's more like you do 2,000 damage in around 8 seconds or so. And while the ready rack does take a while to fill up, 5.69 seconds. So you're looking at roughly 23 seconds for a full ammo rack empty. You can usually go into battles with 2 or 3 shells loaded, since that does actually work. The usual thing to do with the BMP3 is to make sure that you can out damage your opponent. That ready rack will be your lifesaver. This means that you can burst damage them and then you can run away, which is a pretty good idea, to be honest. And as you can see here, the ready rack is pretty full. So I'm going to do something stupid, in which I'm just going to try and go all the way off. Sabra down there, bounce. Oh! 800 damage taken. I didn't really expect to do this. And then the Sabra killed me. So that's it for the end of the game. Although I do feel like the extra 1500 damage was definitely worth it. So, as you can see, the ready rack in that game really helped. The burst damage on the Sabra, the ability to fire shots quickly at the NM142, and the Centauro, I think, as well as the fact that I basically did half of the hit points of a Challenger 2 within 10 seconds, was pretty damn decent. So now let's have a look at the post-game stats. Oh, just got to find them now. Where are you? Vehicle.
Plot twist, no post-game results.
Yeah, so 8,353 damage, 3 enemies destroyed, 280,000 credits, not bad. As you can see, 3,000 damage done to the Challenger, 3 shots done to the Sabra, 2 shots done to each of these guys, and then 1 shot done to these guys here. Came second on the team, that Scorpion having done an amazing amount of spotting. But as you can see here, I pretty much outscored just about everybody here in terms of damage done. Which is not a bad idea, which is not a bad thing. The tank can also be pretty accurate. As you can see here, I fired 21 shots and only 1 missed. And the total amount of damage I could have caused would have been 8,851. So that's not bad at all. I mitigated 1,100 damage, but to be honest, you shouldn't really expect to bounce anything in the Stingray. You will get ammo racked a lot, and it's not a good thing. Trust me. Take a fire extinguisher. Anyway, this next game is on Port Storm, Middle East. No idea why those two are together, but they are. And this is a top tier game. Top tier games in the Stingray can be a bit of a hit and miss sometimes. Yes, you're top tier for everybody, and yes, you can pen just about everything frontally, but this means that since you're a top tier, you don't really have the ability to do the sneaking flanking attacks. As now, since of course you're top tier, everybody's going to focus you because, hey, more XP and more points. So, Port Storm. A fun place I enjoy going is usually the A-line, A0. Sorry, the 0 line. In tanks with ready racks and stuff, this means you can open fire at vehicles on the heel relatively quickly. As you know, the 2-second delay between shots, rather than the 8, 5, 7, 6 shot time of other tanks, means that you're able to pull off at least another shot, rather than, you know, have to wait, and then those targets will often disappear. I'm the only one going here, unfortunately, but don't worry, it doesn't matter. For now, I do like the paint scheme very much, but for now it's all good. I like going here, at the very least, the fact that since you're a Stingray and not, say, an M8 Thunderbolt, despite the Thunderbolt having better stats overall, the Stingray's ready rack means that you basically pose a threat to just about anybody, because of course you have a ready rack, you can dump shells into them. It's pretty cool. So Sabra Smash going on around here. The gun depression kind of let me down a bit. If I'd have been fast on off the mark, I would have been able to slam another shot into this guy, but alas, it doesn't happen. Although I am actually kind of thankful there's not a Russian light tank in the same tier. MBT-70 over there, put another shot in. You can see once again the fact that I have another shot immediately loaded in 2 seconds means that if I'd have made that mistake in, say, an MBT, I would have been able to do 500 damage to him. So for now, I'm actually looking over here. There's a pair of Scorpion cash stats over there. Now, I can't take both of them alone when they're on 500 hit points. Well, when they're on full hit points, but the beauty of ready racks and auto loaders means that you can actually clip multiple targets in a single clip if you're lucky and if you use the right shells. So the best thing to do for me would actually be to get those Scorpion cash debts while they're busy, while they're bothered, while they're on relatively low hit points, so then I can roughly get them down to a 2-shot each, and since I have 4 shots I can get rid of them. So you can see me thinking of it here. 5 seconds loaded. Can't really see anything going up here. Spotted him. Not a bad idea. So my thoughts here was that I wanted to at least make sure those 2 guys were still there. And while obviously, you know, since most players will usually stay in the same place, if you're going to make a push like this, it's a better idea. So now I've got all 4 shots loaded. Let's see what happened. Okay, first kill, Scorpion. Bam. Done right there. Bam, Amarak. I used HEP rounds here. And I just scored 2 kills. I just clipped 2 people. It was pretty good. If I'd have used AP rounds, maybe the same thing would have happened, but I wouldn't have been able to get an Amarak shot on that Scorpion, which meant that the viability of me being able to actually clip him in 3 shots would have been put into doubt. So when you're facing AFVs like that, a HEP clip or a heat clip can be very useful. Speaking of the ready rack, I actually hate these. I hate coming up against these things in a warrior, simply because of the Stingray's heat clip potential, which can be really fucking annoying. So sent over there. I thought I hit him, but it doesn't matter. There's an Abrams over there as well. I've loaded back to AP route now. While heat will give you more damage, since they've got an MBT heavy lineup, I'm not always going to be guaranteed damage with heat rounds, so you want to do the guaranteed AP damage. So if I was like a other tank, this Scorpion cash step probably would have been able to do more damage, but I steal his damage. So we're up to 5,000 now. When you do twice your amount of damage in hit points such as this, I feel like that's a good game, and that's maybe where you should stop. And I know there's a VBL Stingray running around now, so we're going to blap him. The ready rack also means you're also able to go against VBL Stingrays and stuff, meaning that you're actually a tank that they don't like, because you can fire almost as fast as they can. So if they miss a shot and you hit them, that's pretty cool. And now we have a very angry Scorpion cash tech just running around. I'm a heavier vehicle, are you sure about that, dude? Sucks to be him, right? So there's a Centauro and an MBT-70 lining up. We're going to clip this guy. I load heat rounds at this point. The game's almost over. I'm likely going to be facing enemies' backs. Use the heat Luke. I'm pretty sure this Scorpion was not happy with me, to be honest. Oh, there he is. These MBT-70 has pretty weak armor, so we can go through him. And then I get another shot on the Challenger. And while this isn't a case of ready rack go, the reload time is pretty cool. So that was that game, which as you can see, the ready rack once again proves its worth. And so does the speed of the tank. If I was in an MBT or something, or a Centauro, I would have either been too vulnerable, or I would have been too slow. That happens. So now let's have a look at the post-game stats again. Oh. Alrighty, where is it? Port Storm. So as you can see in this one, once again an 8,000 damage game, a little bit less credits, but the majority of the vehicles here I took were one-shots. Clipped the Scorpions together, clipped the MBT-70, clipped all the other guys. You get the idea. This thing's ready rack makes it incredibly powerful. And to be honest, I would call for this thing to have a nerf. A 2-shot ready rack like the Abrams would probably go better, because it is really freaking strong. So, closing statements. Do I recommend the Stingray? Yes, I do. It's fun in just about every game mode. In PvE, you get someone who can ready rack people pretty quickly, it's fast, it can spot. Same goes for PvP and same goes for glops. It's a great all-round vehicle, and no matter what game mode you're in, it's fun. I give this tank 10 burgers out of diabetes. and I hope you enjoyed the view. For now, take care guys, and see you all later.